All right, guys. So I just remembered while I was speaking of the YouTube channel that I was not recording the lesson so that we'll be able to upload this particular lesson since it is different from what I have already on Resa's YouTube channel, so that we can always revisit it for those that actually are not in this class or for those that will miss it. So for the sake of the fact that I just started recording, I'm just going to restart Photoshop again. So, or let me just do a new layer. Okay, so I just closed the documents we opened before. I'm just doing this again for the sake of the meeting I am recording. So I just do Control N, like I said before. You pick your dimension. So for my dimension, I can rename it. I can just call it adjustment layer class. Adjustment layer class. I hope we are following.
Yes, I am.
All right. Adjustment layer class, the same width. So we're just using square here. And like I said before, 300 is for design for web. When you want to do any design that is going into the internet, you use 150 when you are using design for print. So if you want to print on anything, you use 150 as your resolution. But for web, 300. While the color space we'll be working with majorly is RGB and CMYK. For grayscale and bitmap, we are going to address that in another class. So CMYK is the color profile for print, RGB is the color profile for web. And I'm using a transparent background because I can add the color using an adjustment layer once we create it. Else, you could just pick a solid color. And once you click on here, I know I did not mention this before, you can actually click on the default color you want your document to start with. So let's say I want a very bright red. I just select it. Color profile, do not color manage. Now, the thing is, these color profiles that you're seeing here, they're actually very different. And okay, I've closed DaVinci. I would have just said, let me do a display, but that's actually for photo edit, for video editing, but you can look that on your own. So Adobe RGB is actually the color space that has more colors than any other thing. That's why you'd notice there are some designs that you would see. I don't know if any of us have experienced it. When you view that design on your laptop, it is looking very bright. Maybe the red is popping. But when you send the same design to your phone, it is looking very dull, like something is wrong. Maybe the color. And when you look at it on your laptop, it looks very fine. Send it to somebody else. Like there's this inconsistency with colors. That is where the color profile you are working on comes in play. So the color profile that is advised majorly is for screen. You have working sRGB. Sure you get, but for designing in Photoshop, I just tell it do not color manage. So what you can always do before you send your design to your clients is once you do the design on your laptop, send it to your phone, look at it in a screen, ensure that okay, everything is fine. So it's not like you'll be seeing bright blue on your computer screen and you'll be seeing another thing on your phone. So another way to curb this is when you do calibration of your settings, because if you go to your system settings, right click, you see something like display settings. So if there's something wrong anywhere here, now if you look at my display settings here, you see that there's color profile here, Lenovo, blah blah blah, new light on. All of these things matters a lot. So ensure to check your display settings in case if there is any inconsistency while you're designing. Now, definitely scrub pixel. When we created this layer before, okay, let me cancel. Just create. You see that it is red. I'm going to close this. Control N again. Now, if I tell it transparent and I create, you see that we're having squares here. The reason we're having squares is that the more I zoom in, the more the square is still there. Somebody wants to join. Admit. Okay. The more we zoom in, the more we see that there's square there. And I was able to zoom in by tapping Control plus, zoom out by tapping Control minus. Now that is because in the pixel aspect ratio, what we are seeing here is what square pixels. That's why we see that it is proportional. The width is equal to the height. So I will always advise any settings you are not really sure of, don't really mess with it. Just leave things the way they are. And I'll just do create. Now, I mentioned it before that if you want to add a solid color or a background color and you want to do it from here, you just pick the color that you want, say white. Now, you have your slider here to shuffle between various colors. So what we have here, you have your hue, you have the tone too, because if you go diagonally, you see that there are shades. So you can pick any color that you want. I'll just pick white. and I click on OK. So now I've looked at the first adjustment layer, which is solid color. Any questions so far, or do I proceed? Any question, anybody, or do I proceed? We are going from the unknown to the known, or from the known to the unknown, whichever one.
No question from my end, please.
All right.
Sorry, was it the transparent you turned to white or what?
All right.
Or
Now, if I delete, I added a color fill. I'll just delete it by dragging it to the trash can icon. Okay, delete key. It's not going away. Let me just do Control Z to undo. All right. So when you create your new layer, when you create your new document, Control N, when you just click on create after following the instruction I mentioned earlier, want to add a background color, right? You want to add the background color. Is that not what we want to do?
Yes.
Okay.
yes,
So how many of us can see our layers panel? I didn't ask that. Can we see something like this on our screen? This stuff that I'm dragging up and down. Do we have that anywhere on our screen?
Yes.
Is there anybody that does not have it? So I mention it now. We all have it. Okay. In case if it goes missing, I'll just delete my own. Like it's not there. So you don't need to panic. Just come to window. You look for your layers, because everything you're doing in Photoshop, you're working with layers, and that's one of the things that makes some softwares very good, like DaVinci Resolve. You're working with layers, that but they call it node over there. Now, what I'm just going to do here, for some of us that maybe are not very comfortable with tiny thumbnails, or you have issues with your eye, or just prefer something bigger, you can make this thumbnail bigger. Is mine big already? Because I always mess with my own settings. Okay, it's on medium. So what I did was I came to, you will see these dashed icons, about four of them. How many of us can see them? Four dashed icons by the right of your layers
Yes.
window. Okay, you click on it. You go to the bottom, you see something like panel options. Panel options. You click on it. You click on it. Once you click on it, you will see something like thumbnail size. Are we there? Anybody on thumbnail size? All right. So you can click on the larger one, then you click on OK. You see that your thumbnail is bigger. So the thumbnail you have here is actually a preview of what you have on your document. Now, to add a solid color, I'm just going to click on my adjustment layer at the very bottom there. Or is anybody seeing my screen as very tiny? I can make it bigger. I just want to know. Are we good with what we are saying, or should I make my display bigger?
Please make it bigger, sir. I
All
have
right,
to zoom
thank
please
in
you.
to
make
see what.
Okay, okay. Sorry about that. It's just that when it is bigger, there are some options that is hidden in Photoshop. So I just usually make it 100%. So let me go back to Photoshop. Let's see. Is this better? Or should I still make it a bit bigger? Is this good? Can somebody answer me? Is this good?
Well, we would not mind if it's bigger, or I would not mind if it's bigger.
All right. Let's see what I can do. Display settings one more time. Let's do 150. Okay, I feel 150 will be fair. Is this great? I guess this is good enough now.
Yes.
All right, amazing. So since I'm working at, it's like I'm working with some concave mirror here. Okay. So if you notice, I can move my artboard around. You see that there's like an answer appearing. So what I'm doing is I'm holding the space bar key. If you hold the space bar key, your cursor is going to change to an Antu, like somebody that wants to grab something. Have any of us noticed that? Who's trying that to me?
Yes.
Okay. Once you hold down the space bar key, hold on, somebody wants to join. Okay, nobody. Once you hold down the space bar key, you can click. That's left click. Please, when I say click, I mean left click. Yes, is it left? Yes, it's left. You left click and you just drag with your hand still on the space bar. So that way you can move your canvas all around. And if you feel your canvas is too close to you, you can control minus. You hold the control key and you type minus to zoom out. So if I hold the space bar, you see that I can move my canvas all around like we're dancing. Okay. So back to what I was saying before, I was talking about adding a background color. So what you do is you click on your adjustment layer, your adjustment button or panel. That stuff that is looking like a moon. Can we see it there? A moon with a downward arrow.
Yes, sir.
Click on it, add solid color. Your first option will be solid color.
Yes.
All right. So I'm just going to pick white. Okay. Control 0. The 0 is to fit to your screen. So anytime you see that your screen is going like this, just now I'm zooming out with control minus. Once you see that it is coming closer, I'm zooming in with control plus. If I'm like this and I just tap control 0, it fits to screen. So we're just doing basic navigation. Okay. So another way you could have done this is, I guess, in apps like Illustrator. Illustrator does not have this solid color stuff. So what you have to do is you'd have to add a rectangle. I don't know. Is that what you do in CorelDRAW? So if you want to add a background color, you add a rectangle. I'm asking those of us that attended CorelDRAW class.
That's what I drew.
Oh, that's what you did. Okay, that's cool. So you see that I have a rectangle here, but the con here, that is the disadvantage here, is that if I move the rectangle around, some parts will be empty. So to hide your layer, let's say you're working on something and you don't want to delete it, you can just click on the eye icon. It is going to hide it for you. It's just like turn on, turn off. You see me, I see you. You can't see me, I don't see you. That kind of thing. So, but for the solid color, no matter how you click, you can't move anything around. So it's just like universal. So what you can do with your solid color fill or your color fill is just to click on the lock layer. Now, if you noticed, when I added the rectangle, I'll change the color of the rectangle. Once I've added the rectangle, am I talking too fast? Because I know I speak fast sometimes.
You just pick the rectangular tool.
Okay.
Please,
What did you say?
from that adjustment side, I can't get it where I'm not getting it right.
The rectangle, Abby.
The adjustment, I can't see any solid color. What is showing is no layer match the flitter.
What Photoshop are you using, please?
2021.
2021. And you can't see solid
Yes.
color. This thing that I'm pointing on my screen.
Yeah.
What did you say you are seeing again?
Yeah. When I click on it, I'm saying no layers match the flitter. That's what they're writing there. And I even went to the adjustment property beside the property bar. The same. I'm not seeing anything there.
But you have these small icons at the bottom of your layers panel. This FX, this camera, this stuff that is looking like a camera. Do you have it at the bottom of your screen? This
Yes.
place that my mouse is hovering over, you have it.
FX. Yes, yes, I
You
do.
see, okay. You see layer marks. Then the next one beside the add layer marks. I just click on it. So you mean you don't have this option?
Okay, okay, I've seen it. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Because I was like 2021. Okay, solid color. So
Thank
I
you.
just click on solid color. Have you been able to do that? You're welcome. So I guess we're good now. I'll go back to the rectangle.
Yes.
Okay. So for to activate the rectangle, there's a shortcut key. You just tap U, but I think I'll prefer to just show you where it is. If you tap U, your toolbox, which is by your left, you would see the rectangle too. Have you tapped you? Have somebody tapped you? Just tap U on your keyboard. It will activate the shape section.
Yes, I've done that.
So what you just do is you right click. If you right click on it, you are going to be seeing various options. You see your rectangle, your ellipse, your triangle, your polygon, your line tool, your custom shape tool. So rectangle definitely to add your rectangle. So you see, I just clicked and drag over it. Then I am getting my properties panel opened automatically for me. Is this happening to everybody else?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So there are two ways you can change the color. Once you drag it, it opens the properties section for you. You could just click on fill and you come here. If you see where my mouse is, that thumbnail that is having plenty color in it or a splash of colors, just click on it and you can pick any shade of color you want. Okay, and that is it just right there.
I can't find that, please.
You can't find that. Okay, go to window. Go to window. When you click on your window, you should see it. You should see properties. Just click on it. When you go to window, you see properties. Just click on it to bring out your properties tab.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. That's one way. Another way is immediately the shape tool is activated. That's once you tap that U on your key on your keyboard, you'll be seeing a menu layer in front of you, a menu bar. You will see fill, you will see stroke, you will see PX. PX is to
Oh,
control.
yes.
Very good. So that's like the easiest way out of everything.
Oh,
Now, if you want to do something else now, we can't do that because of the shape tool is activated. So what you want to do is you want to go back to your move tool. I think in CorelDRAW it's called pick tool, but in Photoshop it is called your move tool. So just tap V on your keyboard. So you will see it here by your the first tool you have, move tool. You can see that.
yes.
Very good. So the only disadvantage with using a rectangle is that you can move it around. So if you do not want to move it around, what you have to do is you lock the layer. So if you see at the top of the rectangle, you'll be seeing something like fill, lock and unlock. You'll be seeing some properties like that. Sha. So what you're concerned about is something that is looking like a padlock. Just click on it. Have we done that?
Yes.
All right. So if it is locked now, you see that if I'm trying to click on it to move it, what I'm getting is like there's a selection I'm trying to draw. And none of us can see that. I want to move it, but it's not moving. So that is a way to lock anything. If you don't want anything to move, by the time you start creating stuff, you'll be having this your layers panel is going to be increasing the more. So that's one way. Now, but if you had added your solid color, all you will just do is you will just pick the color that you want. Once I select it, I don't even need to lock anything. It can't go because of the old canvas till infinity is filled with that color. So there's nothing like you're moving anything around. That is the difference between using a rectangle and using your adjustment layer. So for convenience, you can just create your field. You don't even have to stress yourself about locking anything. The only thing is that once you lock it, that selection properties that was available with the rectangle when it was locked becomes available. And what that does is for you is to be able to select. So if I have my rectangle on, let's say I move it away, let me unlock it, and I move it away. If I click over it, you see that it is selected here. How many of us is noticing? I click out. Anytime I click and drag over the rectangle, it becomes selected. How many of us is having that feature? Even if you click and drag over it, you're not getting the rectangle selected. Let me know now so I tell you the problem. I guess we're all fine.
Okay. I'm sorry. I want to bring up that. I'm finding it difficult to fill in the rectangle I created with a color.
Okay. Tap U on your keyboard. It is going to activate the rectangle tool. That's your shape
Yes.
tool. Once you tap the U on your keyboard, you'll be getting some crosshairs.
Okay.
So what you do is try not to click again because if you click, it is going to draw another shape like I just did on my screen now. If you are seeing it, if I click, what is going to happen is I get another shape drawn. I don't want that. So what you want to do is you come to your layers here. you ensure that your rectangle is selected. So once your rectangle is selected, what you do is just tap U on your keyboard. It will activate the properties of the rectangle. So when you check your menu bar, you see something like fill, stroke, 1px. So just click on the fill. You will see this thumbnail that has a lot of colors in it. Click on it, and you can select any variant of colors you want.
Okay,
So
thank you.
yeah,
Done.
you're welcome. Okay, good. So you see that once you are done, just tap V on your keyboard. That will take you back to the move tool. Are we good?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
I'll take that as a good. Okay. So now we'll notice that at the top of our menu bar, there are some alignment options, but they are grayed out. They are not activated. But normally, I think in CorelDRAW, it is usually activated. Anything you are creating, your alignments are always there. Once you click on it, it will just align your elements for you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, why that is because when we created our new document, uh, we did not check the artboard option. That is, it is going to treat you like you're working strictly on layers. It's not going to be thinking like Illustrator or CorelDRAW, which are vector based. So if you want that particular feature that it is very important to you, ó ṣe pàtàkì gan, ó ṣe kókó, what you're going to do is ensure you check the artboard option. Once you create, you see that by default they are not grayed out. But then if you go to our previous documents, you see that it is grayed out. Come here. So the advantage is that if I create a rectangle, let me just create it. Don't let me use the rectangle. So I'll just be teaching us various stuff as we go on. I'll tap T on my keyboard to activate the text tool. Tap T on your keyboard to activate the text tool. If it is activated, just look by your toolbox. You see that something is selected. If you right click on it, you are going to see your vertical type tool. Okay, it's not called text tool, it's called type tool. Anyhow, T for text. So you have your marks tool. Don't bother yourself about that. The vertical one, what it does for you is when you click, anything you type, it will just be doing it vertically for you. So I'll just say Rocky Robot. See that? And I'm using some shortcut key, so I'll just be iterating. I'll just type Rocky space robot. You see it is typing vertically. If you press enter, it will just be doing anyhow. So if you want to exit your tool, don't tap enter, please. What you tap is control enter. Anytime you are working on anything and you are done, and instead of going to the move tool, just press control enter and it will automatically exit it for you. Do we get that?
Yes.
Okay. Let me explain it again just so that we get it very clearly. I'm going to change to my horizontal type tool. If I click, let me type the magic maker. Magic maker. Now, as I am typing and be going like that, let me stop at magic maker. If I'm pressing enter, if you notice, what it will just be doing is it will be doing the enter function like a typewriter for me. Do you see that? And that is not what I want. I'm trying to tell the software that I'm done typing. So what you're going to do is you're going to press control enter, and that will just automatically complete whatever action you're doing for you. So you can now move to your move tool by pressing V on your keyboard, or you just click on it by the left corner of your screen, and you see that you can move your text anywhere. So you have Rocky Robot, the Magic Maker. Now, the reason I am teaching you like this is though the content we have on my YouTube channel, that one is project based. So yeah, it's sort of like to make the experience different. So it's not like you waste your data to go and watch something and I'm repeating the exact same thing in our virtual class. It to me it doesn't actually make sense, and I know you agree. So that is for the text too. Now, if I want to align this, why did we use an artboard? If you look at your menu bar while your move tool is selected, you'd be seeing these alignment controls, like I said, alignments, align left edges, align center. If I click on it, you see that it takes my robot text to the center. Who else has noticed that? Or who else has done that? Who
Yes,
else?
I noticed it.
Okay. So the advantage of using artboard is that all of your alignment options are there for you. So this magic maker text, if I want it to be at the top corner, instead of me to be clicking and be dragging, you see that it is moving anyhow. If I want to lock the movement to either be vertical or horizontal, as I am moving up, you hold the shift key. Anything you do, it is either up or down because you are moving up initially. So it maps out your movement for you. And please, is any hope nobody is saying they can't join on the group because I've not even been checking the WhatsApp group. Okay, no comments yet from anybody. All right, we're good. So if I want to go up and I hold my shift key, it locks it for me. Even if I'm moving to the right, you see that my cursor is moving to the right. My text is just stuck on up and down. But then if initially I was moving left to right, and I hold my shift key, it is going to move left to right. So you can move your element perfectly. Like what makes design very fine, for those of you that may have checked my IG page, if you've not checked it, is Rocky Robot Designs. That's for my graphics page. You'd see that one of the things you would notice is symmetry. Everything is aligned. There's a sort of alignment it is following, either margin, everything is aligned. Once your designs is aligned, you are following measurements, basic ruler, like you are neat. For somebody that is very neat and you are designing, your work will be neat. And once it is neat, it will be fine. So to take to the top of my canvas, instead of using my mouse to be moving small, I'll just click on the align to the top so that it takes my text from me there. If I want to align to the center, I click on the one for the center, I text it there. Then if I want it to be down a bit, what I'll just do is I'll click on the text, I'll hold shift and I'll bring it down. But you see, there's no way I can measure the distance between what I'm moving. So to make what we are doing not looking like confusing, let me just add the solid color. I'll pick white so that it makes more sense because that's box was box. It gets to be. I believe this looks better. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
All right. So now to ensure that the movement is making sense and want to actually be precise in our movement, I will advise you to use what is called guides and grid. Designers use this a lot. How many of us have done technical drawing? Did we do technical drawing in school, or is there anybody reading tech education here or engineering student? One of us did technical drawing either in school or we've done anything related to technical drawing.
Yes.
Yeah, years ago.
Okay, many years ago. Okay, that's fine. All right. One of the things that make your work very amazing is because you use okay, I've heard of similarities and enlargements where you draw line vertically and horizontally on your artboard or on your canvas before you start doing anything. You can have a virtual one here by using your guides and grid. So to activate my grid, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type the shortcut on the screen. Let me make a copy of this text. You see this text that I'm moving, I want to make a copy of it. I will hold the Alt key down. I'll click and drag. You see that the copy is there, but it's moving anyhow. If I want to lock the movement, I hold the shift key. It locks the movement. You see that now the movement is just stuck diagonally. Why I was moving diagonally. Do you see? I can't move left. Okay. You see, even if I'm moving left, it is diagonal. So you can use this to create nice stuff. You see? So now what I'm just going to do is I'll click and drag and I have my copy there. To activate your guides and your grid first, the shortcut key you will use is Control apostrophe. See this shortcut key? It is to activate your grid activation. I'm going to do it now. Control enter. Now if I do Control apostrophe, you see that your screen is looking somehow. So now if I wanted to just move this text very well, align it well, I can just be using, let me zoom in, and be using this particular line here. But I want to point to the line. I believe you can see this cursor. I can be using this particular line here to gauge my element so I can have it at the very top. Then I zoom out, Control 0. You see that? So that is to activate your grid. Now you have what is called your guides. And some of you would have noticed that there's this extra paparazzi that is on my screen, which is at the top here. It is called your ruler. Control R to activate it. I guess your screen was looking like this before. So you tap Control R, it is going to activate your ruler. So what your ruler does is you can use it to add guides on your screen. So I just click on the ruler, I drag it down. This is what you call guides. So when you're doing your design and you don't want, let me just show you guys something. Let me get one of my flyer design. Okay, I made one of recent. Windows E to open my file explorer. What down my HDD Opera downloads. Rocky, where is this boy? Okay, I did one for this Pastor boy. All right, so I'm just going to click and drag it to my Photoshop. I'll just open it. Now, please look at your screen. Look at what you have on your screen. I know it's looking disturbing. If I turn off the grids, if I turn it on, when you look at all of the elements, let me drag a guide. You see that all of the text are aligned to the left. This makes your work neat by default, unlike when all of the elements are scattered. If you look at here now, you see nothing goes, I don't write anything. Once it's past the first three column, I don't write anything. And for the top two, nothing goes on top for these two boxes that you have here. So when you have those basic rules, it also makes your design very fine. And for those of us that have phone, it just pains me that I can't show you this. There's this thing called bevel. How many of us watch iPhone review on YouTube? iPhone reviews, phone reviews usually on YouTube. There's this thing they call bevels. Who knows about it? No one. Okay, if you buy screen guard, you see that sometimes the edges of the screen guard are tinted black, and sometimes it covers the messages on your phone. How many of us have had that issue? Maybe you bought a screen guard and the edges are just very thick black, but after a while, it starts to fade off, it starts to scratch off. Anybody here?
Yes.
You've had, okay. So imagine I did a design now, and I have that kind of screen guard on my phone. Hmm? Let me open this pastor file. Where is it going? Kinimopegono. What did I even name that particular file? Let me go and open. Okay, this is it. I want to open the main Photoshop file itself. Okay, this is what I have here. All right. So now imagine this Venom text now that is here. Imagine if the text was here and your phone had a particular screen guard. Do you know that this particular text, the first three letters, you will not see them on your phone? You know that is what is going to happen. You will not see them on your phone.
Yeah.
So that is why you use guides and grids. Also, it makes your design fine when they can breathe. Now, all of these things that I'm saying, they look abstract, they look stupid. But by the time we start using the application to make designs, you will see that, wow, okay, what this guy is saying actually makes sense. So just note all of these little things that I'm saying, they are very much important. Very important. And if you notice, when I select anything, my layer is changing. If I select the phone number, it changes to the phone number. I want you to notice, please. Look at it. If I select this icon that is here, it locates the picture for me. That's because I have auto select on. So for easy navigation, I always ensure that auto select is checked on. I believe you can see auto select by the top of your screen. Auto select. Can you see that? Automatically select a group or layer. How many of you can see that on your screen? When the move tool is activated, tap V on your keyboard. That should pop up.
Yes.
Okay, so if the auto select is on, it is going to make life easy for you, because if you look at what I have here, see that it is a lot now. You see the way it is plenty. Okpo. Now, aside that, I still have other variations down here. So for easy navigation, if I don't want to stress myself, imagine stressing yourself. You're now looking for a particular text here, where you can just click on it and it takes you to where the text is, and you can now do your easy adjustment. So UK, Australia, whatever. I can add Nigeria, Nigeria. Control enter when I'm done. I tap Vicky, then click. Don't worry, we're going to create flyer, but let's see where we go in this class. Me that I was saying class will be for 30 minutes. Class don't pass 30 minutes like this. So, and let's go on. Z. Okay, we're back here. So I'm just going to go back to the empty layer we were working on before. So that is how you activate your grid. And for your guides, if the dimension is different from my own, just go to edit. Now, how many of you remember that I told you that if you are not on 100% in Photoshop, some some buttons will be missing in Photoshop? Remember when I said it earlier? Okoyemi remembers. Deborah too remembers. All right. Now, if you look at, I'm supposed to be having more settings down here, which is called preference. But now they are not there because I'm on 150%. Meanwhile, even if you are on 125, you will not still see it. It's the same thing for other softwares like Premiere Pro too, because they have a long list of effect or properties that you can actually customize for your own good. So when you are zoomed in, they are gone. Now, if you don't know, this thing is going to stress you a lot because you'll be watching a YouTube video and what you just need to move on from that particular phase is just that particular function. So what you will just do in this case is once you are on that particular edit tab, what I'll do is with my arrow key, I'll just press down. So now instead of moving with my arrow, you see that I'm moving with, instead of moving with my mouse, I can move with my arrow. How many of us have seen that? Instead of moving with my mouse, I'm moving with my arrow. Can you notice that? Just is noticing what I'm doing. So what I'll do is I'll
Yes.
just be pressing down, going. Once I get to this color settings with my mouse, or this remote stuff, I'll just be pressing down. Now, do you see that that particular section is shifting up? You notice that? I see that, right?
Yes.
That it is scrolling. Now, let me zoom out. Oh, let me zoom out. I'm going to set it back to 150, but I also want you guys to get what I'm saying. If I go to my display settings again, okay, we're using 150. If I go back to 100 and I go back to my Photoshop, now everything is zoomed out. I'm going to zoom in back. Just hold on. And I go to edit. Do you see that every single thing is showing? Nothing is hidden. Can you see that? So that's the idea. But then I'm going to move back to 150% so that we don't have any discrepancy in the class. 150%. So where's Photoshop? Let me close. I wanted to show you guys something here, but unnecessary. This is not a video editing class. Close. All right. Where's my Photoshop? My Photoshop has idle. Chai, what do I do? Windows tab. Where are you? PS. Ah, guys, Photoshop has run away. Oh. No more Photoshop class near for the rest of the day. Okay, found it. All right. So to activate your guides, if you notice, look at my screen. It is coming on and off. What am I doing? I am using control. This should be semicolon. Yeah, I think that's semicolon. Let me just show you.
Control what, please?
Yeah, that's what I want to show you on your screen now.
Okay.
Control that thing. I beg. Which one is semicolon? Which one is colon? Is it the first one that is colon and the second one that is semicolon?
The
Is
first
this
one
one?
is
Which one is this one? First one is
semicolon.
semicolon. Okay. Control semicolon. Because control semicolon to activate your guides. Guides. Grid. So control semicolon. For those of you that have funny keyboard, you may have to be looking for your semicolon. Okay. But if your keyboard is in the appropriate position, nothing is scattered. Some people to press your alt, it's supposed to be shift 2, but then because of one thing, you are doing shift semicolon. So you may have to be looking for your semicolon. Your semicolon may now be shift 2. That's for those of us that have very funny keyboard. As for your guides activation, now if you want the particular settings that I'm using, what we just have to do is check my preference. As I'll just scroll down to, I'm going to scroll down to preference. I'm going to go to this thing, guides, grids, and slice. Enter. Now these are my settings here. I'm using 1 centimeter. So if I change the settings that is here, division I'm using 4. If I change it to 6, do you notice that there's a different behavior on the screen? How many of us saw that? Let me change it to 72. How many of us noticed that? Right on your screen. Now, where this comes in and is when you want to be doing precision. So to make the one that will be very obvious, let me change this to 5. Do you notice that change on your screen? when I change it to 5. Now it is looking like, which book is this? There's this book they sell in primary school that is like this box like this. Who remembers what's the name of the book? Is it 2B, a bit 2A, a bit 2 something? Is it drawing book? A busy handwriting book?
I think it's either
The one of
drawing.
handwriting. I don't know what they call that one, sir.
It's drawing book.
This
One
one
of
is like
handwriting.
okay, the one on our screen. If you look at the way it is, I know I've seen a book like this before, Sha.
It's 2D.
2D. Oh, God bless you. All right. So that is when you want precision. So depending on what you want to work on, you may need those boxes to be bigger so that you can align your elements very well. And trust me, if you are working with measurements, you are doing alignment, your designs are going to be lit. Okay, they are going to be lit. So let's just check random designs that I've done. Let's just see my IG page. Where's that page, Seth? Instagram is down here. Visual designer. Just to show you guys different designs, because I know none of you have visited my page before. Okay, now look at my promotional design. Or has somebody visited my page before? Nobody. I was right. All right. Now, if you look at this particular page now, if I take this picture and I take it to Photoshop now, you see that the text by my left here, they are aligned. This one is at the center, the magic maker. This one is right behind it. Using measurements, guides, and grades, there's a ruler here to ensure that Rocky Robot Designs, Rocky Robot's Bond, and Rocky Robot's Rights, they are all aligned. Now, these are just examples. This one is logo design anyway. So, logo design for the company I work with. So these are like just various departments and various concepts just to depict what they do. Now you have you could do poster design in Photoshop too. So this is a recent one. We printed it. This is the video. So yeah, I used that CMYK color mode that I told you guys of. That's what I used for this. So if I continue to scroll down, you see the Magic Makers logo. Made that with Photoshop. Even though I could have learned in Illustrator anyway. Look at this design too. So you always have to follow alignment. When you follow alignment, it makes your design very neat, very, very neat. So system business school, you see everything is aligned. Alignment makes your design fine. You can see that. So these are just various. You could even do certificate design. I did this one in Illustrator, but you can also do it in Photoshop if you want. If you want, it's just that there are some things that are very easy in Illustrator. So this was the one for Ostesa Fresher Scope, and these are the designs. You see how fine they are. So all of these things, Photoshop, Ostesa tutorial, Patsy. I know a lot of us here likes Patsy. So everything here is Photoshop, purely Photoshop, purely Photoshop. You could also do carousel designs. So I'll just, where's that my write-up page? Rocky Robot, right. All right, here we go. So if you look at this now, this was done with Photoshop. So keep yourself going. The dimension will just change. So I'll show where that Photoshop safe. So cancel, Control N, no, file, open 006 by 006. So here now you see that I used artboard, and you see that by default, just opening the program, I used guides and grades in my design just to ensure that everything is fine. So go to the first artboard. I'll click on artboard 1, it will zoom it in. Then I can just scroll. I can scroll to the right. So this is how you do carousel designs. In case if you've been seeing it on a lot of influencers page, or this influencer that they are using stories, they use it to tell stories. So you can see, keep going. We are so busy, blah blah blah. You go to the next one. So it is sort of like seamless. So these are just little things. So Photoshop goes beyond this. You use it for photo manipulation and a lot of things that are more crazier than this. But then to know how to do this, you need to know the basics. So That is that for guides and grids. And there was something I was saying before. We're back here. This was where we were before. So what I was trying to explain was the difference between working with artboards and working without the artboard option checked on. Now, for me to be able to create that particular carousel, what you see here is called a carousel. For me to be able to create it very well, I had to use the artboard feature. Using the artboard feature off, life will be very difficult, but it is very possible. That you have to be doing some calculations. You know, tell Photoshop that every so centimeter, cut this 5 yards, cut it 1 yard each. But it's just a lot of stress. So instead of you to go through all of that stress, it's just better you do it in artboard. Okay, so that is for the solid color. So you have your gradients. So depending on the flow you want, how do you want it? Do you want to add noise? You see that it changes. You could do a lot of crazy stuff just with that. Just with that. So that's what your gradient does. You can change the direction if you want. You just click on it. You can change the direction. You see what I'm doing? So depending on your concept, you may feel like this thing is useless, so gradient is useless. But then if I show you the thumbnail I designed for, where is that my thumbnail design for my YouTube page? I the design no banner. I'm trying to remember the name. The name. Okay, let me just go and open it. DaVinci Exports thumbnails. Please, how many of us can see this on our screen?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
that little gradient stuff that I just showed you, that is what I added here. That's why I see that this part, the top left corner of the screen, is much more visible than the bottom right, and that's because I wanted to lay more emphasis on overview of the magic maker. I wanted to lay more emphasis here, so I needed to blur the background. Look at it. This one is a general solid fill, but I reduced the opacity. So this one is adjustment layer. You can see the gradient there too. Look at it here, flyer shop, poster design, music cover art, you can see it there. So basic things like this, just for you to know what is possible. Once you know what is possible, when you are creating your design, because of the basic knowledge, you're able to do something that is composite. And people are like, okay, it is awesome, but then it starts with all of this basic stuff. That's for gradients. You have brightness and contrast. To put this brightness and contrast stuff in perspective, I'd like us to work with a picture. So how does my picture say? Grade. Okay, these are my recent one. For those of you that have my number, or that's if I saved your number, that's when you only be able to view my status. Okay, where are the IG pictures? Somebody wants to join the meeting this late. Where is that skinny? Google Meet. Okay. Admit. You guys should forgive me because of my nose that I've been dragging up and down. I'm actually very ill. So Emma manage me. Emma been.
Sorry about that, boss.
Yeah. Paxi, you are very late. Oh. Look at the time you're attending class. Can she hear me? Eride Paxi. All right, no comments. Okay, so back to what we're doing. I was talking about putting the adjustment layer in perspective. You appreciate it better when we're working with pictures. So you can see here that I'm having artboard 1, artboard 2, artboard 3. That's because I use the artboard feature in Photoshop to put all of them in perspective. So I want to pick one. Okay, let me pick this one that boys are not smiling. I'll just drag it here just to create a new one. Now, the essence of this is not to show you guys my ugly face. I want to put the adjustment layer feature into perspective. If I come here and I click on, let's use that gradient again. Can you see what you have on your screen now? So if I use my hand to move, you can see the effect of the gradient. If I zoom in, so it is casting a shadow from the bottom to put it into perspective. That is the gradient. So depending on what you want to do, you could reverse it. But we know that like that, it doesn't even make any sense. Depending on what you want to do, Sha. creativity is very much subjective. So this was the style I was using for all of my thumbnails, even though I used another concept to actually create it. So next time I'll just be using gradient fill. So I guess we're on 90 before. Enter. Now you can reduce the opacity. If you look at the place that my mouse is, you'd be seeing normal opacity fill. If you reduce the opacity, it's going to reduce the visibility of your gradient, but it doesn't mean it's not there. Depending on the percentage you drop it down with, I can turn on the eye. Can you see the effect of the gradients? Oh my god.
Yes.
All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So it's still there. It's still there. But who has wondered this white box that is beside the gradient field? What is it used for? Who has did it cross your mind? Like Kenny Whitey that is just there. What's the function? Did it cross the mind of anybody? Don't lie. Oh. Okay, it not cross the mind of anybody. Okay, I'll just show you. Now, look at the percentage. I've dragged it back to 100. What you call this is your vector marks. You can create it by yourself. You can create it by yourself. It's in I guess the adjustment video layer, the adjustment video I uploaded on YouTube, it's there. But then I'll just show you this one because I didn't talk about this there. Now, yeah, once I click on it, if you notice the colors that I have here that I'm showing you, you'll be seeing that it's white or black, white or black, white or black. If I tap B on my keyboard, it activates my brush tool. But then depending on your software, I don't know what the size of the brush is. However, to increase the size of your brush, what you do is you use your square bracket. Let me show you here. So Control apostrophe to hide it, Control Enter V, or click and drag, or the Shift key to align it. So what your open square bracket does is to increase brush size. Increase brush size, Control Enter V. I can delete that. This Rocky Robot, I don't need it. Come to the trash can, drag it to the trash can. You guys can see how I'm going to the trash can. Look at the text. I am dragging it. Left click and drag to the trash can. Bye bye. So you use the open square bracket to increase the size of the brush, and you use the close square bracket to decrease decrease the size of the brush. Control Enter. Go back to my artboard. Now that I'm here, B to activate my brush tool back. Let me use the close square bracket. This is how I hope I did not mix it up. Okay, guys, I actually mixed it up. Oh, sorry, it's the other way around. Okay, closed, closed, open, open. Okay, so if you go back here, B to activate your brush tool, you can see that it is activated here for you already. I use my square brackets, that's my close square brackets, to increase the size of the brush. I believe you are seeing that. Use the open one to reduce it, and you can hear the sound of me tapping the keyboard. So my gradient fill here, the vector marks, what you have here is called the vector marks. Basically, if I click on this, my picture, and I click on this camera that is there, add layer marks, it's going to add it for me. But I want to show you the usefulness. The usefulness is what you call what is called non-destructive editing. Yeah, I know non-destructive editing is possible in Photoshop. It's also possible in Illustrator. I'm not sure of CorelDRAW, but maybe I'll ask Myros after the class. So my brush tool is there. Now, the next thing I'll do is I'll pick the opposite color. Just tap X on your keyboard. It is going to switch the color for you. D for the default, X to switch. D for default, X to switch. D for default, X to switch. D for default, X to switch. Did we get that?
Yes.
Good. Now, the next thing I'll just do is, you see this gradient that is here. Let's say I want to do one thing. I'll just click and drag. Can you see what is happening on my screen? Do you see that? Do you see what I'm doing?
Yes.
Now, what are we doing here? We are hiding, we are painting away, we are brushing away the gradient feel somebody wants to join. So what we're doing here is we are cleaning away, we are hiding. But the idea is not to actually do a perfect job now. What I'm doing is I'm explaining concept so that when you see design, you'll be like, ah, you get that Yoruba boy, we get one funny accent where they talk like that for our Photoshop class. You will remember that's the essence of all of these things. It's not for you to be like, ah, when are we going to do our first banger? We're going to do a lot of bangers, or you can see bangers on my channel. But then here we're going to be looking at the nitty-gritty, the basics, which is what will help you to make better designs. So now you'll be like, but this guy he just spots the gradient that I added now. No, that's not what I did. I can turn it off. If I hold the shift key, and I click on this layer mask that is there, it will turn it off for me. But that is not what I want to show you. I hold the shift key again, click on it, turns it on. What I want to show you is you can paint things away and you can paint them back. I'm going to tap X on my keyboard to ensure that white is what I am having as my fill color, my foreground color. This is your foreground, the other one is your background. Now that white is activated, look at those places that I painted away. Oh. Can you see that I can paint them back? Who is seeing that? That I can paint it back. Anybody? Okay, you can see that. Esther can see that. I am painting them back. Do you see that? So you could use this and more to create some very cool effects. In fact, let us do a very cool effect right now. Right now. It's not a big deal, sure, but let's just do it as I am thinking of it. So I just increased the size of the brush and I painted everything back. Now, let's type Rocky. I'm using my type 2, Rocky, ROCKY. V, Control C, drag from the edge to make it very big. It is aligned. Gege. Then properties. I hope I'm not too fast. Am I too fast? Who has done this before? Or who understand how far I've gotten?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. It's just very basic. Now, from what I have here, you've been thinking, how can we use this Rocky name to create a nice stuff? Let's bring it down. I'm holding the shift key. I dragged it to the very bottom of the screen. Now, I can hold the control key and click on, you see the thumbnail that has this big T beside my name, Rocky, in your layers panel. If I click on it, you see that there's this thing like tiny ant that is moving on my text. That is a selection. Now I will turn off the Rocky, turn it off. See that the selection is still there. I will click on my gradient layer marks, not the thumbnail, the layer marks, that one that is white. I will click on it. Once I have done that, I'm going to come to my gradient to, no, I want to use the paint bucket. I'll just right click for paint bucket. You see that there's a bucket that I'm carrying up and down now. Bucket skill, but you shall see the bucket. So now, the bucket that is there, what am I going to do? You could have done Shift G. Once you press that your G, and you see that the bucket is not showing, instead of you to go to the gradient to right click and select the paint bucket, you can just press Shift G to move across the various tools that is inside. Let me make it very clear to you. If you notice here, I'm having a rectangle too. I click on the rectangle. If I'm not using the shortcut key for the rectangle as written there is U, if I'm not pressing Shift U, it is going to be changing. Ensure to look at this corner. This is where your eye should be. That place where the rectangle where we selected it from. As long as I keep pressing Shift U, it is going to be changing the tool. So that is how to move in-house. I go back to my paint bucket. I tap X on my keyboard to switch my foreground color to black. Now, G for my paint bucket. Control D to deselect. Who has seen what I just did? Okay, Esther saw that. Balumi too saw that. So you can see how we've been able to just use gradients to just create something very cool. So I can just reduce the opacity. You can see that here we're putting a label that, okay, this is Rocky. So it's not everything that you may be like, instead of using the gradients, you're now using your regular text to maybe but we're having it at the top here or at the very bottom, Control T. And I'm like, okay, this is Rocky. You could even do something like this, and depending on, that's right, everything is all about the basics. Okay, you get, everything is all about the basics. You see what we have here? R for Rocky, ROCKY, something like that. I can even paint away. Now, remember I told you about non-destructive editing, right? You'll be wondering, what if you want to paint away this OCK and Y? I'll just click on my vector marks, activate my brush tool. Give me some seconds, please. Hold on. Okay, guys, I'm back. All right. So I'm just going to tap X for the white to be activated, and I paint over the YKC, and you see that we have what R for Rocky there. Who will tell me that this does not make sense? Like, just look at what we just did now. So imagine you're working on a magazine that has 30 people, 30 attendees, and the two pages out of the magazine is supposed to contain the name of everybody that is coming. Wait, it's like my computer screen is lagging. Wait, on my iPad, the effect has not changed. Has it changed on your own? Can you see that it's only R we are having and Rocky? Somebody signify, please. The frame
Yes.
of my Okay, the frame of my iPad is stuck.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So imagine you're having a magazine, and if you want to design magazine, you'd have to use InDesign. So for you guys, let me tell you this: if you want to call yourself a graphic designer, because it's not the college that you know, it's not only Photoshop. There are three softwares. If you go to LinkedIn and you're checking for jobs on visual design and graphics design, what you are going to see is three softwares when you're checking their job requirement. One, Adobe Photoshop. Two, Adobe Illustrator. Three, Adobe InDesign. Adobe InDesign. I should be having all of them here. InDesign. Let me just show you the software. Okay. Now, if you watch my tutorial on eight websites to download Photoshop from, you can get all of these softwares from there. So have it at the back of your mind, and interfere the graphics designer. If you want to become a graphic designer, three softwares you need to know. Now, I know, don't kill me. I know I said CorelDRAW. I'm not saying CorelDRAW is not important. It is important, but CorelDRAW is vector based. Illustrator 2 is vector based. So companies are very sentimental about Adobe products, but then you always see advantage knowledge in CorelDRAW. So if you don't know how to use Illustrator, you should be able to use Photoshop, CorelDRAW, and InDesign. However, I would advise you know how to use what the three, because I've noticed something about Adobe software. Are we listening? Because they will not teach you this thing in the tutorials you watch abroad, because those guys, they are using machines that are high end. Yeah, we are still struggling to buy a computer of 500,000 to edit a video. So I need you guys to get this. Adobe products are very RAM. So how will I put it? They take a lot of RAM power. They take a lot of power from your computer to work. So you want to do some basic things sometimes with Adobe packages, and your laptop will hang. This people that are using Photoshop, that are using 4 gig RAM laptop to design graphics, it will get to a point your software is going to be crashing. Are you listening?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, it is going to
Yes.
crash. So now, if it crashes, fine, you upgrade your RAM to 8 gig and it's still crashing at some point. All you just have to think is, wait, oh, can I do the same design in CorelDRAW? Trust me, in as much as I'm not a big fan of CorelDRAW, I used CorelDRAW to design banner for this school, 3 banners, System Business School at Alagomeji. Why? The laptop I was using, it was 12 gig RAM, but CorelDRAW was just lagging. I want to move text. Because of the banner is very big, for me to move from here to here, it may take like 3 minutes, a whole 3 minutes to just move text. When will I now finish the design for the banner? So you can imagine that it was very exasperating. So what did I do? I used CorelDRAW. And CorelDRAW did not stress me. I swear. I designed that banner in less than 15 minutes. I just duplicated everything, did 3. It was very fast. And I was like, on the same laptop that Adobe packages are crashing. So now, for those of you that are using laptop 4 gig RAM, this, let's say you want to work on a banner. Maybe if you go to Oyingbo or this billboard, you are going to see a very big banner size. If you open it in Photoshop with that your 4 gig RAM laptop, let me just say it, yeah. Because you said, God, it will shock you. So that I know CorelDRAW is very scalable. So kudos for CorelDRAW for doing that. But to call yourself a graphic designer, you need to know 3 softwares: Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is, from this basic thing that we are doing here in this our class, this basic thing. If you end up learning these softwares, you can go to LinkedIn. Please tell me that somebody here has a LinkedIn account. Somebody should signify, please. I have a LinkedIn account. Signify. God bless you, Johnson. Johnson has a LinkedIn account. Johnson, have you noticed the job section in LinkedIn? There's a tab called jobs. Johnson, have you?
Yes, I think there's a upgrade now on the app, but I don't visit
Oh,
it up.
okay. Let me show us. Let me show us. I have my LinkedIn page open there. I'm trying to help us here to go professional because please don't learn anything making come money. If you want to learn anything, please go pro. If you want to be a dummy in a software, please don't just even start at all. If you are learning anything, learn it because you want to be baba. Go professional so that you can charge money for all of these things. And these skills, they may not have value here in Nigeria because you want to do a banner. Somebody here, you will be charging they'll be pricing flyer 500 naira, like they want to buy beans. Well, I don't do designs like that anymore, Sha. When you travel out, all of this knowledge are very handy. You see, when you come to the job section, you see that I have visual designer here that is checked on. Hey, where is this man? Give me a minute, guys. Sorry. Okay, can you see what I have on my screen? Can we see it?
Yes.
All right. So now this job alert section, is somebody trying to join? Where is the meeting button? Okay, nobody. I guess it's just me. All right. So if you notice, I configured it. Let me scroll low, be paying attention. Can you see visual designer, graphic designer, and what are my requirements that I'm putting there? See, can you see photo retoucher? So I'm telling LinkedIn to give me job alerts whenever any place they post that they need graphics designer, they need a photo retoucher, they need a visual designer. I should be getting the notification. So when you read some of their requirements, I've not checked some in a while. Freelance web designer. Let's click on it. There's usually a place called job requirements. Do they have it here? About they don't have it here. But then I'm just trying to show you that once you check it, you are going to see there that you must have everything they want from you. Whether you should be able to kill an elephant, you will see it there. Whether you should be able to eat spring rolls with toothpick, you will see it there. So what I'm telling you is to be a graphic designer, take this software, please have it in your mind. Photoshop for photo manipulation, Illustrator for vector-based design, and InDesign for publications, magazine, anything, book, leaflets, InDesign. So let me go back to Photoshop. Now, from this design that we have here, I'm going to save it. I actually like it. I didn't even know we could come up with something like this. Quick export as PNG. Do you see the way I'm exporting the file? Right click, quick export as PNG, and let me create a folder for my Empower class. Ctrl Shift N, Empower, intro, PS, enter. Ctrl Shift N to create a new folder. Class, me and 001. Class 001. Let me call this R for Rocky. Enter. I guess I'm going to be doing like Myros. I'll be giving assignment after my classes. Yay. Okay. Now, what I just saved is the image. I've not saved the Photoshop file. Because to save the Photoshop file, Ejo, you press Ctrl S. It will bring up the save dialog. Now, I'll go and look for that in my folder. Yeah. Empower intro. I'm going to call this class 001. Okay. I'm going to call this R for Rocky. R for Rocky. Then I'll click on save. Now, what we just did is we just saved two things. Some of you, if you do this mistake, you are going to lose your file. The only thing you just be having is the picture. So I just saved the Photoshop file that has all of my layers embedded in it, and I saved the picture too. So if I go to the location of the file, Empower, See that I'm having two files here. R for Rocky. Picasa should be able to view my Photoshop file without opening Photoshop while sharing. Picasa is opening my Photoshop file without Photoshop being open. So R for Rocky, you can see it there. So this is my Photoshop file. This is my PNG file. So I'm saving as PNG. Now, I don't know if I've explained it before, the difference between JPG and PNG. I don't think I explained that in any of my Rust class. The difference is that, let me just show you. Later from Mamachi abstract file. Let's save it as JPG file. You can't quick export it. You just go to export as. You come to JPG. You can increase the quality to 7. Export that location. Where are you? Give me the location. alpharocky.jpg. Save. Now if I come back here, you see that I'm having so far. I'm having the JPG file and I'm having the PNG file. If you look at the JPG file, please, what you see here is what? 834 kilobytes. 834 kilobytes. Look at my JPG file. 1.83. That's almost 2 megabytes. So with what I just made obvious, can somebody tell me the difference between a JPG file and a PNG file? Somebody, please. Your definition doesn't have to be perfect. It's just the try to show that you understand it. Or you want to try. Just try. Somebody should try. Or am I wasting our data? Let me close the meeting because this one I will not
Sorry,
respond.
can you come again with the quality of the size? I mean,
Yeah, I was showing you something that the JPG file that I just showed you, we exported our PSD file in two formats, JPEG and PNG. What was the full meaning of PNG again? I've forgotten the full meaning of PNG anyway. Now, the JPG file is just 834 kilobytes. That's 0.83 megabytes. Now, my PNG file is 1.83 megabytes. What's the difference? I know the sizes are different, but why do you think the sizes are different? Why? Who can tell me? Johnson, Treasure, Deborah, Emmanuel, Ojo, Palumi. Nobody?
JPG is how many MB?
0.3, 0.8 MB.
Oh, and
0.8.
PNG
The
is
other one is
1.8.
eh?
And PNG is 1.8.
Yes.
Oh,
Should I tell you?
please do.
okay, let me try.
Okay, try please. Try please.
Okay, I think JPEG, the JPG file, you
Uh-huh.
can actually open it and it will not show you the, what will I call it? The like it will not show you the layers and the everything if you want to open it. It will just show you a file just as a picture.
You tried, but that's not it. That's not it. That was not what I wanted to say. You are thinking too much, like you are going too far. Shey you get- Yeah, you're going too far, and that's nice. It shows that you actually put a lot of thought into it. But then that the only file that has that capability, who just spoke? Is it Ojo that spoke? Ojo, was that you?
Yes, yes.
Okay, Ojo, the only file that has that capability that you just mentioned is a TIFF file, TIFF. TIFF file are like Photoshop files. So if you are working in applications like Procreate, and you want to transfer some things, or you are working in Inkscape that does not have export as PSD, but you want to edit what you are doing on that software in Photoshop, you export it as TIFF, TIFF. So when you open it in Photoshop, it retains all of those layers in it. Share you get. So what you are saying made sense. I just needed you to understand that. Now, the
Okay,
difference
okay.
between a JPEG and a PNG file is that JPG, the quality is lower, basically. Basically, PNG, the quality is higher. Chikena, Otonsibe, finish. So you may do some designs on your laptop and it is going over 30 MB and you can't send 30 MB on WhatsApp. What do? Export it as what? JPG, drop the quality, then you'll be able to transfer it easily. So in our today's class, we've been able to do what Alpha Rock, and I know that we've used a lot of data. In fact, myself go, I they burn my data like this, why they complain say start per day. What's the duration of this meeting that we've done now? 1 hour 30 minutes. I believe this is enough. Please, have we learned something tangible? I want to end
Yes.
it. We have learned
Yes,
something.
sure.
Okay,
Yes, sure.
that's good.
Yes.
So now the adjustment layer class, I won't teach adjustment layer again. Oh, like I'm supposed to go through all of these things that are gradient, pattern, brightness, and contrast levels. I can't go through everything. Look at the data we've exhausted just to teach this basic thing that I've been doing. Shege. So anytime you have maybe you could do night sub or anything, you could watch it on my channel. Shege. So everything and you see the timestamp there. Let me just show you. Where's that YouTube Kini? Your channel. Now, if you see the adjustment layer that I'm opening here,
This video, I'm going to show you how to create this.
I just want to skip it. Now, pause. Okay. If you scroll down and I click on show more, what do you see here? Can you guys see the timestamp that is here? Can you see it? Timestamps that is on your screen. All right. Bello can see it. Okay,
Yes.
okay. Now the timestamp contains chapters to the video. So if there's any part that you feel you know already and you don't, do you remember that I spoke about non-destructive editing? Can you see that in 27 minutes, 25 seconds, it was non-destructive editing that I spoke about. So anywhere you want to jump to, we've done this thing, solid color. So for brightness and contrast, you can jump towards 48 minutes, but then look at all of the things that you would have missed. So what I try to do is, if I'm supposed to teach you one thing, I teach you a lot of things to achieve that particular one thing. So that when you are going away, you're not just going away with how to design a flyer. You have other knowledge that you can take into how to design for a clothing brand, into how to design my next fashion kini, into how to do my IG post, all of those things. So the pencil is a very difficult software that if you take your time to master, it is going to do you a lot of good. So you will see all of that in these videos, and I'll be uploading 2 new chapters by Sunday night. So you guys should just do well to take your time. Anything I teach you, please, you watch it here. And if you feel like, I don't have money to be buying courses, because me, I buy a lot of courses. If you feel you don't have money to be buying courses, you can subscribe to my channel and everything in Photoshop. I want to make at least 100 videos in Photoshop before I go into Adobe Illustrator. So I'll make like maybe 50 to 100 videos in Photoshop, do like 20 to 30 YouTube shorts. Then once I'm done with that, I'll now go into another software that you're supposed to learn to be a graphic designer, which is Adobe Illustrator. So you can see a PS, Lightroom, Premiere Pro, After Effects, that's for animation, XD for UI UX, Adobe InDesign, AI for Adobe Illustrator, ID for Adobe InDesign, Adobe Audition for audio engineering and sound design. Basically, all of these things are what the channel is going to entail, but no be now. So the first software that we are teaching, or the first software that I am going to go through, is Photoshop intensively. So after that, I'll now be going through other software. So if you feel like Empower we end, the knowledge or learning Photoshop or learning to become a professional graphics designer does not end once you're subscribed to the channel. So you can also tell your friends that are not in our group chat, and that will be all for our class. Thank you for coming, and I hope you do have a lovely evening. Bye bye for now. Bye guys. Adios. Bye bye.
Yes, boss. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Much obliged, Tani Foshi.